Hey, how's it going? I'm Alex Southey, and you are listening to another episode of Your Worst Song. What's going on with me? Just chilling with Mabel. It's raining. The Leafs are currently up 2-0. It's May 1st, so if Leafs fans will know how that game ended. I don't know how. Earlier today, I had the pleasure of speaking with two members of Jolie Laide, pretty ugly in French. I'm sure I butchered that pronunciation, but hopefully you get it. Two members instead of the one, which I'm used to. Oh, Mabel's got the zoomies. Two members. One was Nina, who's had a long-term solo career and has been active in and around the music community in America for a very, very long time. She brings with her a lot of history and interesting tidbits and working relationships she's had. Chief among them, Steve Albini. That was we cover him a little bit in this conversation, so fans of his should stick around. And so Nina was one member, and the other was Morgan. And Morgan comes from Calgary as opposed to America, Seattle more specifically for Nina. Comes from Calgary, and together they discuss with me recording their new album, Creatures, and that it didn't initially quite get going as smoothly as they thought it would. Not in terms of friction between players, but just where is that spark? Where is that creative carrot that's bringing the carriage and horse forward? They couldn't find it for a little while, and then out of nowhere, it seemed to happen. So lots of fun stories here, and lots of a few name checks. I hope you enjoy it. That's Mabel, and I am Alex Southey. This is Your Worst Song. Surprised there's a website that exists for that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Website for everything. And a lot of times you can see what they have. They'll have images of what they have. But the best thing, the best way to do it, which I found out later from Hey,
Morgan.
Talking about estate sales.
Yeah, we're talking about estate sales right now.
But yeah, I know. But my cousin told me that you've got to do it on the last day. I mean, you lose out on actually a lot of pieces, but you get the best deals because they're just we just want to get rid of everything.
Totally.
So who's having an estate sale?
Well, we're nobody.
Nobody. We were just chatting about the painting behind Nina.
Yeah, and all the paintings I got, I have that museum wall paint that are similar to that in all of houses. For some reason, I have paintings of houses everywhere. Nice. But I got them all at estate sales for $10.
Yeah. Morgan, how are you doing? Yeah, what have you got up there?
I'm good. I got let's see here. This was actually my dad's. It is very nostalgic. It's kind of dumb. It's just this, you would see it in.
Not dumb.
I don't know, but it was in my parents.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Isn't that cool?
It's cool. You know what's so funny? Both of you are putting down the art that Nina was it's just a dumb painting of houses, and you said the same thing about yours. But come on, there must be something to them. They're up in your room.
There's something there. Yeah. And then number two here is our little wedding. Nina, have you seen this?
Yeah.
Momo. Yeah.
That's pretty cute.
Yeah.
That's pretty great.
Wow.
Hi, Alex. Nice to meet you.
Yes, nice to meet you. Yeah, that was a fun way to start the conversation. But normally I do actually just ask, what were you guys up to earlier today? So do either of you, maybe Nina, you want to go first?
Oh, God. What was it?
It can literally just be, this was my breakfast or whatever, right? But
I spent the day, I've been spending my days doing very similar things for a while now. Procrastination.
Okay.
Procrastinating. I walk my dog is the only thing I don't procrastinate over. And then I procrastinate. I've got all these things that I have to get done. And, one of them being practice for Jolie Laide tour, but like there's, I've got like a lot of things to work out, and I'm the worst disciplinarian.
How are you filling your time while? No, you're not just sitting there on the couch. I'm guessing.
I think about what I have to do. I think about it.
Yeah.
And I think about, how can I motivate to do that thing? Like maybe, I don't know, a snack. I'll have tea. So, I mean, I'm quite busy in the day.
But it's like, all in service of getting you ready to do the thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so that was what you did today.
I have been practicing. I did practice one song. So, Morgan, I am doing something.
Oh, yeah. Girl, I know it. Don't I know it?
Well, go ahead. Why don't you say, Morgan, how your day's gone so far?
Today so last night, first of all, let's back it up. I had an iced tea at maybe like 11:30, and then
wow,
I bought that iced tea has like a bunch of sugar in it, and then my body did that thing where I fell asleep, and then like 5 minutes later, I was like, my body's like, you're not asleep, let's party. And I was like, no, I gotta wake up early. So then I had a bad sleep, and then I went to work, and that's it. But it's really beautiful today here. The sun is out, and it feels like summer, and it's very motivating and good vibes.
Wow. But the iced tea was significant enough that you're still thinking about it the next day, and it affected you.
Yeah, and I've even told that story. I think this is the third time I've told it. I'm like, did you hear about my iced tea? Yeah. So, in short, not a very exciting day.
Okay. I mean, at this point, it's like a PSA. It's a public service announcement.
Be careful. They should write that on the phone.
Morgan, you don't look like it, but we are of that age. Well, you're not quite of the age. But you're getting of the age where you can't be drinking caffeine at like that hour of the day without the consequences.
True, but
it's a crazy life.
But this isn't caffeine. This is iced tea. So this is just like, oh no, that is caffeine.
There's caffeine in tea.
Oh my gosh.
That's just as much caffeine as coffee, really. Yeah.
Plus sugar, presumably, or no?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's that big like.
You like brisk or something?
Are you Canadian or?
I'm Canadian.
Okay. It's not brisk. It's the other big one from back in the day.
The other big one from back in the day. And it's iced tea.
Big tin of
Lipton.
Oh, Lipton. Lipton, yeah?
It's actually not that either. Good,
no, you're in Canada.
Good host, good something, good time.
Oh. Hey.
That's Canada.
Maybe.
In about the size of my body, and it came from Costco.
Oh, interesting. I'm sure somebody is screaming the answer right now listening. Interesting. Yeah. We don't need to get into Canada, America, anything unless you want to. But I was going to say, actually, as of recording this right now, the Leafs are in Game 5, I think, or something with Ottawa. So that's exciting for the Canadian folks.
Oh, yeah. Are you East Coast?
I mean, East. I'm Toronto.
East-ish, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're both in Calgary right now, or just Calgary time? No, neither of you.
I'm in Calgary.
Oh, okay.
I'm in Seattle.
Oh, Seattle. Wow, cool. Okay, well, I appreciate you all. Appreciate you doing this. Okay, well, I just there's a lot to talk about. But I don't know the right way to begin talking about it. I almost want to ask, okay, maybe this. Which city means more to you at the moment, Calgary or for both of you? Let's say as the band, does Seattle mean anything to the band, or is it, because I know Calgary for sure, but are you just passing through Seattle or what?
No, I'm here for.
You're based here, okay, based there.
Yeah, for a while, yeah.
Okay.
So
I signed a lease, so.
Yeah.
Nina is the only non-Canadian in the.
Okay.
We are Calgary. The other three of us are from Calgary.
Okay. I wasn't sure how the split went. I knew it was American-Canadian, but gotcha. Okay, cool. And then, if I'm correct, you sort of came together because your Calgary band was big fans of Nina's work. Is that correct? Yeah. In short, yeah. In very short.
Well, we met. we met recording in the same studio.
Yes. Okay. Can you recall the moment you met? What was that like?
Heavy drinking.
Okay. So in short, no, you can't quite recall it, possibly?
Yeah. Actually, I mean, I have a hard time recalling. And I always put Morgan in every situation, which is not
and I'm
Morgan
like,
wasn't there. Actually,
I'm not complicit in that.
I just put him there. Like Morgan is now in my memory. Morgan is now drinking with us at Electric Law. He wasn't at the time. Yeah.
And so, Morgan, how about you? Do you have a perspective on that?
Our first meeting?
Yes.
So as Nina was saying, she's placed me into her memories.
Yeah.
Which is it is what it is. We only met your first time in Calgary, right? Which wasn't, I mean, it was like 2 years ago.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. So Nina and Jeff and Clint, the other two members, they go way back, like how long ago?
Okay.
5, 6, 7.
Oh, even longer.
And then we only met, somewhat recently when I kind of joined their band.
Okay.
And then we just hit it off, and then things happened really quick, and we recorded a record together, and I was like, "You're Nina, right?" And she's like, "You're
Maybe this is something you said. You recorded it really quick. It was like, I assume, sometimes the best part of writing an album or writing a collection or whatever is riding that same wave of enthusiasm for as long as you can. Were you, and it almost feels like a ticking clock in a way, if you're aware of that inspiration that can disappear at any time or whatever.
Yeah.
I guess my question is, were you both aware of that during that making of it? Like, is that something you think about?
Well, I would say actually this record we actually had 3 weeks that first time. So in our first session in Victoria, it was 3 weeks, which is quite a lot of time, right, Nina? Like
I guess for all of us, it's a lot of time.
It's tricky for me because I have traditionally just recorded in my room. Like I'm more electronic leaning, so I'm like, I on one track literally for like 10 years on and off, and then I'll add a little hi-hat, and then 2 years later I'm like, no, the hi-hat is too much, pull it out. Stuff like that. So it was a little not daunting, but I had some nervousness about how I would fit in a studio setting. And even that first 2 days, I remember, Nina, do you remember we were sitting there and we were playing on the keyboard?
That was fun.
Here's a MIDI keyboard, and this is what you do, right? And I was like, and it was awkward. But a few days in, we found our footing, and it just really quickly felt super comfortable and really inspiring. I don't even remember if there was a feeling of like trying to lose the magic or anything. It was just happening, and it was really comfortable, and absolutely the most fun. I mean, again, it's the first studio experience I've ever had, so the bar is set really high for me now.
That's great. Go ahead, Nina.
Well, it's interesting because now, like that you're saying that, Morgan, about like working on something, like having a unending time frame for it. It's kind of interesting because we don't have the two other guys to confirm this here, but that kind of makes sense to me because Morgan really was the guy that would really think things through in a way as if there was all the time in the world, in a way. You know what I mean? Like you just in this way where you just took your time with listening to it, mulling it over, figuring out. You weren't quick with choices. You know what I mean? Am I right? Say that.
And as you're saying it, I'm realizing our two answers will be very different because you, as a singer and a writer, it's like everything is the moment and the performance and the delivery, right? It's like getting that right take. Whereas I'm sitting there in this like laptop dungeon. I was like surrounded by stuff, and I was just like, no, like 8 hours later, I'll have the right like bass tone and it'll make that one little moment work in the song. And that's what I'm used to. So like the long game is very comfortable for me.
Right.
Which actually, I think it's the thing, because Morgan's parts really are so, I mean, they're incredible, I think, and they're things that like kind of I wouldn't even think of, right? So it's just was, I think maybe that element really made it interesting that you do approach it in that way that was different, you know.
Right.
That's cool.
Colin, the producer, and I would sit there, like after
Right.
done their stuff, and it's like 10 p.m. He's like, "All right, now let's get weird with it," and
Oh wow,
through delays and just so much fun.
That's cool. So it's almost like you are bringing a artist songwriting aspect to it, but you are also bringing almost like a engineering aspect to it that you can dig into.
Yeah, there's always been, it's kind of a blurry line with experimental electronic music. Like at a certain point, you're like, is it a producer or a writer or an engineer? Or
very blurry.
Instrumentor was the word. Instrumentalist, and it is blurry because there's some musicians, some electronic musicians that I love where you can't, it's like, yeah, they're basically just kooky producers that sit there and like how they express themselves through producing is the art of it.
No, definitely. Yes, exactly. Like their work speaks for them based on the choices they've made. And Nina, for you, so yeah, was it almost the opposite? Are you riding that uncapturable, intangible?
Oh, I lost you.
Oh,
you're frozen.
Oh, hold on. Am I good now?
Sorry, Alex, you cut out there.
Am I okay now?
You're good now. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
You're good.
No worries. Yeah, thanks for telling me. And then, so for Nina, were you trying to capture and keep up that like intangible feeling of the songwriting, capital S, magic? It's not all magic. You can't wait for inspiration, but there is a thing, right?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, it's interesting in the studio. That kind of felt. I feel as though in my memory of it that it fell away very quickly, but that. When Jeff and I did the first record, it was a back and forth that was so seamless and fluid and easy that it was. We almost thought we had tapped into a formula that was like, this we're gonna make dozens of records this way, like no time.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason it was, I don't know. I mean, a lot of it had to do with Jeff would send me like finished things, and I would come up with the melody and lyrics, and so the super interesting thing about it is that when I got to Calgary to actually basically do the same thing but with Morgan and Clinton, it didn't work. Remember that?
Of course, yeah.
It didn't work. So he would come at me, and the three of us, he'd come out with these sort of pieces of songs, and I just couldn't hear anything like I did before for whatever reason, and I don't know what was happening. But so
there's a lot of variables, like remotely is itself a big variable, like.
Oh, right.
I think we were constructing, and he wasn't like, here's 5 seconds of a riff. He was like, here's essentially like,
here's the thing, make something up, right?
And then here's the vocals, and they're like, oh, there it is. Whereas this time you were trying to break it down a lot more, I think. But it's also a hard thing to like, once you're aware of it, it's like if you're on, you see yourself on camera or something like right now, and not.
And it's different. Yeah. So we actually went into the studio thinking, okay, well, we're not going to have a full record. I mean, if we make an EP, that'll be great, but we're not going to have a full record. No way are we.
The bar had been set to like, we're at the very least going to have a nice week or two.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it started with we're going to do a full record. Then it went to an EP, and then it was like, well, it'll be vacation, and we just show them one song. It'll be fine because we get grand. And it ended up being that. It just, I don't even know what happened, but once we got in the rhythm in the studio of things, it really happened pretty perfectly in terms of everybody had their part in an equal strength, and it just came together that way.
Well, forgive me for prying if it's okay, but I want to know about what it was like those first 2 days where you're all acknowledging something is not working, and you keep. I know it's sort of a funny thing, but it is also sort of. I assume it would be uncomfortable to literally be saying to each other, "Well, we were going to do an album. Okay, now only an EP. Okay, Matt. At least we got to see each other." What is that moment like? I assume once you find the key into making the record, that's a happy moment. So I want to know about before. Are you guys all just like, fuck it, we'll just enjoy ourselves then, whatever?
I mean, even leading up to it, there was a jokey kind of vibe to it. Like we were like, well, and the catchphrase was, "We had all summer," right? You know.
Yeah, we had all summer to figure this out.
All summer to write these, and then we just like we thought we were prepared, and then we weren't, and so it was a balance of like, it's funny that we're unprepared, we are, but also in the back of our heads we're like, oh shit, like kind of.
Well, the other thing was we didn't know what we were going to sound like either, so that was the other strange element, because there was, I do believe, you're not going to do that. I do believe that. I really like that first record, and I feel like it does represent. I feel like we didn't need to change our name or anything. I feel like it was still Jolie Laide, but it wasn't realized like it is with this second.
Yeah. I think at the same time we all had an understanding that we were gonna like. It was like, okay, so obviously we're gonna find this in the studio. And even though it's feeling rough and it's feeling like there's a big question mark, there was also like, a positive, optimistic vibe of like, we'll find it or we won't.
Okay. That probably speaks to.
There's so many songwriters in the group that were like, something will happen, and even though it's kind of a rocky like, and the look on Colin, the producer engineer's face, he's just like, oh, so it's gonna be like this. But then a weird thing happened with that too. Once he kind of saw that I won't say that we were unprepared, but that it was kind of loosey goosey in a way. He was like, he saw an opportunity. I can't speak for him, but from my perspective, it looks like he felt kind of comfortable to be more vocal about what he thought about what we should do, and like, I think you guys should try that one and this one. We're like,
right, when
we're like, yeah, sure, whatever, like gets the ball rolling, and then it really formed this nice relationship rather quickly.
Okay, so basically, even though you were facing an issue, you were all sort of still, there was an underlying confidence of, we'll like, it's not the biggest worry, we'll find it. We're all capable, obviously.
Yeah, with this dark comedic vibe, also, like, we won't, and we'll just screw off and hang out.
Yeah. Tell me, I want. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just going to say, and I think once we started to hear, like, how full things were starting to sound, once everybody kind of did their part and tried stuff, we kind of we could see right away that we felt it was working. So that's always a nice kick in the butt to go, right. It's going to be okay.
Right. Yes. Not only is it working, but we're like suddenly weirdly inspired and like,
yes. Yeah.
Into it and like,
which I kind of don't see a clock on that really, because it's just, I feel like we're kind of open people creatively to just go in different directions and just keep staying inspired. I mean, I don't feel right now like, ooh, there's a clock, and are we going to be able to make another record? I don't feel that way.
Good. I assume that would impede, the whole project, frankly. I want to hear a little bit more about how the studio location itself affected things, especially if you're going there and having it, like Loosey, as you said, kind of loosey-goosey. I assume that outside factors would impact it more than maybe if you went in with everything ready. So, and especially it's Vancouver Island, and I think I read in an article it was like definitely it wasn't in a city, it was like out in the country somewhere. So yeah, either of you or both of you want to speak to that?
Nina?
Well, I mean, first of all, I had been to Victoria, BC, and it's absolutely beautiful. Like,
it's gorgeous.
It's beautiful. I didn't really know Colin. He's lovely. I mean, like, I consider him a really good friend at this point, and he's just a beautiful human being, very capable and beautiful human being. He also has like an amazing family. So he's like, his wife Catherine is incredible, and then he's got like just the cutest little sweet pea daughter. So I mean, it's a very comfortable environment. It's the studio is just it's just comfortable. It's like
it's magical when you drive up to it too. It's like amongst a sea of these like not McMansion-y things, but these really like loud looking places. Then there's his property. You drive through this like Sleepy Hollow road with these canopying trees, and then you're arrived at this like cabin house. And it's just immediately such a vibe. You get transported. But the location itself is just, it's right by the water, and so if you need to like cool off or go for a walk and feel inspired, it's just feel the nature. It's so easy to, and it was really, really nice. So to answer your question, I think actually the location had a lot to do with making us, getting us into different zones.
Okay,
There's something uptight about that environment, which made it really easy to relax into doing some work without.
Yeah, I know Clint would have had a really good answer to this. Clint, the other vocalist and guitarist, he went down to the ocean a lot and just like felt warm with the water.
Yeah, that's something that happens there. It like invites you to do it. You feel at the edge of something, and
totally.
Yeah, and you just I love that area. Just because it's still stuck in my head. How about this? Morgan, have you ever been to Seattle?
Yes.
Okay, and Nina, now you've been to Calgary, so what if each of you says the thing you like most about the other city? Would that be interesting? Morgan, do you want to talk about Seattle?
Seattle. Well, if my husband was beside me, he could have a list that would take the rest of the podcast, because he used to live there, he loves it, and every time I say anything at all about anything, he goes, "Oh yeah, this one time in Seattle we did that." Okay, but it doesn't get to minus 40 in Seattle. He's like, "No, this one time there was a lot of snow." I'm like, "Okay, but it's different."
Yeah.
So, anyways, one thing that I like about Seattle, let's see, coffee. Love the coffee.
Oh yeah,
there.
Yeah.
Not Starbucks, but just coffee culture.
The scene, yeah. Okay, coffee culture. That's a good one. Okay, Nina, are you about to say like cowboys or something? Cowboy culture or something?
Yeah. Exactly it. I was there for Stampede. That was the weirdest thing. That was the weirdest thing, because like I happened to be staying in a section part of town and I didn't know anything about the Stampede, so I was just doing my little thing of like going for coffee, and then like overnight everybody was a cowboy. Yeah. I mean, like it was Halloween and everybody was cowgirl, cowboy, and it's like, what is happening to this city? Like, what am I missing? I was the only one that wasn't dressed like a cowgirl. Wow. So it's kind of fun. And then I think the thing I love about Calgary the most is, and I haven't been up in a helicopter looking down, but I've seen images of it, like when you're looking down, and it is an absolutely beautiful city.
Oh, that's a nice thing to say.
Down on it, isn't it? I mean, when you're in the pockets of it, you're kind of like, but like looking down, it's quite beautiful, right?
Especially
There's like
if the
waterways.
Too.
What's that?
If you catch the mountains in the distance, it adds.
Yeah. Really beautiful, yeah.
Wait, I have an answer for you, Nina. I remember you loving the dog park.
Oh, thank you. I forgot the dog park. Okay, yes. There's a dog park there that is like the size of Central Park, and you could just have your dog loose. I mean, unfortunately, my dog has he's got a chip loose in his head. Something happened to him. I don't know what, but he couldn't handle it now. But then you could just run free. It was amazing. I've never seen a dog park like that before.
I've never even heard of that. That's wow. So it's as big as Central Park. Even if you're, I'm sure you're exaggerating, but still, it's huge.
It's huge.
Wow.
Like you go to a different section, and you could kind of get lost in it. I mean,
sure.
I don't even know the name of it, but it's right along the Bow River.
Neither.
So that's pretty well.
Yeah.
Okay, damn. All right. Well, I'm so distracted by that now. I want to know more about that huge dog park. But okay. Then I want to we can get into the first main question actually, which is what for you, let's start with Nina. For you, Nina, what has your best show been? Whatever that means to you. The best time you had playing live, maybe you nailed it. Maybe it was an atmosphere thing.
Okay, I will tell you, yeah, because I mean, I have a lot of them that, and the things that are the things that always make them the best is if they go off the beaten track of what they're supposed to be, and then I actually really like it. So I did on this last. I think, the last UK tour I did somewhat recently, I was in, where was it? It was in Bristol, I think. Mm-hmm. It was in Bristol, and it was swelteringly hot it's this little club that had, it was almost like set up like a black box. That was the venue, and there was no air conditioning, there was no fan, there was nothing, and it was record hot, like crazy hot. And I did the sound check, and I was barely able to friggin' breathe, and I thought, what is it going to be like if it fills up? And it was supposed to fill up, and I was like, what's going to happen? And so right when people were arriving, so then what I did after the sound check is I went, and there's this beautiful garden, like gorgeous garden, where there's just a big tree in the center, and then all these little kind of benches around, and it was gorgeous, and little tea everywhere. And so I thought, okay, well, at least, there's at least that. I wonder if they would. So I went up to the bartender, and I was like, I got to talk to somebody about, like, can I take my show out there if it's too hot? And they're like, oh, that's kind of unprecedented, but I don't know. Like, maybe. Why not? I guess so. Is there a law?
Wow.
So I did one song. It was packed in there. I did one song, and I was like, this is stupid. Like, I was miserable. I was sweating. Everybody was sweating. Everybody looked miserable, but they were really sitting, and it was packed. And I said, all right, guys, this sucks, right? I mean, this really sucks. Oh, and so I just unplugged everything, and I said, follow me. We're going into the yard.
Wow.
So everyone went, and it was fully acoustic. It did the whole set out there, and it was like the most magical thing. I mean, it ended up being kind of like like you're around a campfire or something. I mean, everybody was right there next to you, and just lovely.
Oh, that
was my favorite.
That sounds lovely. That sounds idyllic. Morgan, I don't know how you're going to beat that, but good luck to you. If you'd like to tell a best show.
I totally agree. I kind of have a very similar broad answer to that, in that, like, being forced to pivot or adapt and react to a situation is always so, I love the results and the risk of that. And, like, if it works out, it feels so good. It reminds me of, like, improvising on stage, where you're taking a risk, but if it works, it's like everything, and it feels so good. And I have a lot of examples of little things like that, where you have to pivot, like, oh, we don't have a monitor, so you have to, your electronics aren't going to work. And then it's like, okay, so then we can only use our instruments. This was for an old electronic band. And then so being forced to do that the first time made us kind of level up and be like, oh, if we play the bass and guitar really loud, it feels this way. And
that's a big
so many little, sorry?
That's a big pivot right there.
Yeah, and I remember it being like, we might not be able to do it, but it's like, what do we have to lose? Just try it. There's so many little examples like that where you just have to think outside of the box, and use the heat of the moment to make.
No, I get why that would be more almost more valuable in a weird way, because you learn from it. It's like critical thinking. Plus, if you pull off this thing, then it feels even better than it would have.
And it's like a memorable experience for you and for the audience. And if you can express that feeling, which you hopefully will.
Hopefully.
Like, hey, it's weird, but we're in it together. and we've all kind of, if you've been to shows, you've probably seen something like that. And it's a nice little bonding experience.
That's so funny. Yeah, it's actually like, if you're a fan, speaking as an audience member, if you're a fan of a band, that's actually what I like seeing the most. I don't mean I want to see the band fail, but I want to see something out of the norm, because chances are, if I'm a fan, I know their recorded music pretty well.
Yeah.
So you learn more about the band when you see them faced with something, even if it's just as small as a monitor thing or as big as something else. Who knows?
Yeah. And bands that are on tour, if you've been on tour for months, years, doing the same static stuff, at a certain point, some days it kind of feels like you're just doing the same thing. And so to experience someone doing something different and it being obviously a different real moment can be special.
Well, you said there's a lot, but is there maybe one that you can pull out of the raffle of your mind and tell us?
Yeah. So I've got two.
Okay, great.
One is for so the band that Jeff and Clint and I were in as before this.
Yes.
Called Florida, BC, and we played the Folk Fest 2 years ago, and we didn't know until maybe day of that we weren't actually playing inside the Folk Fest, but we were playing the free stage out by the bike racks.
Yes, I see.
That's a very funny, when you say that, it gives you a funny vision. But we really were playing to the bike racks, and we were like, "What? We're playing free? That's lame!" And we just got all kind of not ego-y, but we were just kind of feeling deflated about it.
Yeah.
Oh, we're these suckers. Of course, we get what we deserve. We definitely got ego-y about it. And then we were just like, let's just, what can you do? Just have some drinks and have a good time. And we ended up having it may be the best show we've ever had as in that iteration of that band. We just had such a good time. So the lesson there is just I don't know, just be a big boy or a big girl and figure it out.
There are moments when it's a dream and there are moments when it's a job. That committing to that was a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my second one, with the group Baths, it was me and my friend Will, and we were in Boulder, Colorado. Yeah, that's right. And we were on the car from, I think, Denver to Boulder. We got a DM from a fan of his who was asking if we would play a certain song, if he requested we play a certain song that night, which we had never played. And with Bass, everything was really prepared. It was like we had to spend weeks, months figuring it out and really making all the moments matter and practicing it over and over, blah, blah, blah. And they said, they requested if we could play this song because our late friend who just passed away a week or so ago, or a few weeks ago, in those really bad floods that were in.
Oh, yeah.
17 or something. That was their favorite song. And we were just like, well, shit, we got to play this song. And we had and it was there was no time. So we just, during sound check, put it into our laptops and figured it out. Maybe had time to do it once to see what we were even going to do. And then, we ended up playing that song as the last track, as the encore.
Yeah, encore.
And it felt so good. And we just like, it was another one of those pivoty moments, and just like felt really meaningful. And then we played it every show. Yeah.
Wow. Did the person who DM'd you to hear that song, did they respond to you later, like, thanks for playing it, or did anything like that?
Yeah, they we saw them in the alleyway. It was really touching. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's really lovely. Well, I want to, something actually somewhat trivial that I like to ask is, since both of you have done a lot of touring, what is the most interesting green room you've seen? And that's not what's the fanciest, although it can be, but most interesting.
I've got one off the top of my head. It's one of those, those boat venues in like France.
Oh, cool.
So there was this one that the green room is, so the whole venue is a boat. This stationary boat that's been turned into a venue. Super cool. Like, it's...
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Totally neat. But then the green room is behind the stage, and the only way there is to walk, like, on the stage.
Oh!
So if you're back there, you're back there, and the only way out is to be like, excuse me, like, walk. And it's super small. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one that comes to mind.
Wow. Okay. Nina, is that your answer as well, or?
Sure, I'll take that answer as well, because I feel like I might have played that venue. I can't think of.
No, that's all good. That's all good. It's just something I like to ask people. People have one, because I find sometimes that's where the venue will show its quirks. Occasionally, you go, "Oh, okay, this is a converted something," or whatever. I want to, just because it's interesting, I think people find it interesting. I know that you worked with Steve Albini for a while, off and on, I guess. And I guess I want to ask as simple a question as, how was that? Because obviously he was a well-known guy, well respected for what he did, and sort of the sound, I guess, he made famous with certain bands like Nirvana or the Pixies or whatever. So, but then he also just worked as like a guy for hire. He wasn't walled off in that way. So yeah, I want to hear maybe your perspective on him.
Every record I've put out of my own stuff has been with him, and he. Oh my God, I just feel so lucky that I had that opportunity. I loved him so much, and they became like such a good friend after a certain point. There's like, there's a Steve Albini handbook for recording,
Mm-hmm.
and really, really super useful. I feel like I learned a ton just going. He had a great way of just, because he would record everybody, and you could record on this amazing equipment, and for what you got, it was like seriously cheap. I mean, to do it with him and with such an incredible equipment, and
like he could have certainly charged much more based on his history and past credits. Is basically what you're saying. Yeah,
and he wanted anybody to be able to record that way. So he had this, he was very much about being super efficient when you go in there. Like, know your shit, get in there, and like, but the other thing that's kind of funny about the Steve Albini handbook is that, it's not a one size fits all, and he can be wrong sometimes, or he could be wrong. But I don't know, just a lovely human being. I don't know.
Well, yeah, that's sort of, even just the little thing that you said there makes me, I feel like a lot of people maybe have an idea, at least, of how he worked on the music side, how he was in that role. But you knew him, like you said, as a friend eventually. So maybe you can what was he like as a friend? Yes, he wanted like organization and well rehearsed in the studio, but just as a guy.
Just you dog. Sure. Just he. He was the guy I could call. I could call for anything. He's definitely the person that if you're in trouble, you call him in the middle of the friggin' night, and he will bail you the fuck out of whatever, or call somebody who will. His whole thing, and you saw it at his memorial. His whole thing was about creating a community of people to really help each other and be there to support each other. And so he would, I would have trouble with somebody and be like, I know somebody that went through that thing. And then he would call them and they would call me, or,
Oh, wow.
And it could be, it could be pretty random, like, oh my God, I have broken my brain on ayahuasca. I need help. He's like, oh, I know somebody who broke their brain on ayahuasca. He got through it. I'll have her call you, that kind of thing. Or he'd call me and say, I have a friend that, you went through a similar thing you did. Would you be willing to talk to them? And that kind of stuff, which is just lovely. And he was so active about it.
Yes, that's evidence of a ton of empathy, which I feel like maybe I wouldn't have I wouldn't have thought he wasn't empathetic, but that seems extremely actively empathetic when you're just
he had a reputation. Sorry, I'm talking.
No, exactly.
Sometimes some people would say he was like an asshole.
Right.
I was like, I've never known that man to be an asshole in any respect. He could be opinionated. He could say something provocative, but he cared deeply about other human beings. Deeply.
Mm-hmm. With all those things, it's always context too. Just like how you know him versus how other people don't or do in different ways, or we only extrapolate from headlines, whatever, right? So anyway, I was curious about that. We can get to the next question, which is actually the opposite of the main one I just asked you, which is, what do you think were your worst shows? And it's interesting because both of you for the last question gave examples that almost could have been really bad, and then they were saved and they became the best shows. So is there anything where that nice little bow on the end did not happen? Nina, maybe you can go with that one, or...
Are you ready, Morgan?
Morgan, if you're ready, go.
I was just going to say a lot of mine are teetering the line of like...
Me too.
And I was like, I was writing little lists, and I was like, actually, this one can go under both. Go ahead, Nina.
Okay, so I have an obvious one that's like really boring. Like I couldn't get my tuning right, and it was just a disaster. It was really boring.
Okay.
I have one that I have to call out somebody that is considered a legend, and I would never do that. Call out people on bad behavior, but you know what? Being in this country, like that I'm in, and all this bad behavior, like people need to be called out.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm going to call her out. Because basically, it was so it was a funny thing. It could have been like my worst experience. It ended up being my lucky experience, actually, in the end. So what happened was I was doing this. I'm getting all nervous. I'm doing this. Like somebody's gonna, like some music police is gonna come and like.
If you decide after you tell this story, or after the podcast you don't want it included, I'll edit it out.
No, I will include it because it really pissed me off. So I was playing this show in Russia. It was this big, huge festival, and I think it was like a kind of people from all over the world. It was some celebration of peace show, I think it might have been called. So there's people from China, Tuva, everybody was there from all over the place, and I was playing it, and all there's one headliner, like two headliners. This woman, I think her name was Zemfira. I think she was kind of considered the Madonna of Russia. She was huge. And Patti Smith. And Yeah. So those two got like a full on show, and then everybody had like maybe, you could play 3 songs, right? You play 3 songs, which is fine. It's whatever. Money for 3 songs is fine. So I'm playing, we're going to do this thing. And, the promoter, I'm trying to be brief too. The promoter was a good friend of mine, and I mean, he'd become a good friend of mine, and he helped all the shows in Russia. And he always was just such an advocate and always wanted to help me, So they were going to do this thing at the end of the festival. There's going to be big fireworks. They split off the categories for Got a Whole Lot of Love was one category, song. For somebody like a We Are the World thing. Everybody sings on it.
Okay.
And the other one was All You Need Is Love. So I'm in the All You Need Is Love category, and of course my dear friend is like, would you do this one? You do a verse and Patti Smith does a verse, and then everybody comes in on the chorus, and I'm like, okay, little E. And so But I'm also terrified because I don't even know how to sing any other song other than my own. I can barely sing my own. I mean, I'm just so nervous. I'm so nervous. So we're at the hotel, and so everybody agrees, and so her band is up on stage in this little hotel bar, and the band's like, let's rehearse. And I said, yes. And I get up on stage, and she's just like, no, you guys rehearse. I'll come in. And they're like, please come, or whatever. No. And then we rehearse. So then she comes back and she says, I know what we'll do. She sounds great. Why doesn't she do all the verses and I'll come in for the chorus? And nobody's going to go for that. I mean, I'm nobody. That's like ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So we're all begging her to do it. We're just like, that's not going to work, Patti. You need to do, it's not going to work. So finally she comes up on stage, she rehearses, we sing together. And I'm actually standing there singing going, holy motherfucking shit. I'm singing with Patti Smith. It sounds great. I'm super excited. I've got to learn this song. Oh my God. I got to learn this song. So then the next day, we're going to do it. I'm rocking in the corner for like 24 hours trying to memorize the song, right? Because I suck at memorization. So finally, it's I do my little 2-minute set, and then I'm like rocking in the corners, practicing. It's time. I'm walking up on the stage, huge stage, just like massive stage, the stadium stage. I think there was like 200,000 people there. And one, to the left is my mic, to the right is her mic. And I'm just going, this is my moment. Oh my God. I'm halfway. And her guitar player comes up to me and says, Patti's just going to do all the verses.
Oh, God.
Okay. And what am I going to do? I suppose if I was like, and a more aggressive, ambitious person, I would be like, yeah, no. And sing over her. I mean, there's a mic there, like they're not going to turn me off. So, but I was like, okay, it's fine. But the thing was such a train wreck that it was actually lucky that I didn't do it. Because it actually was terrible, because she didn't rock in a corner to remember her words. She didn't remember them at all. She had like a little piece of paper and messed up, and it was a big mess. And it was
God.
And yeah.
That's a tough one. Never meet your heroes kind of thing, I guess.
It's kind of never meet your heroes. And I don't think people should behave. Oh my God, what am I doing that I'm telling this story? Well, I don't think it doesn't matter. Like, I don't think people need to be fantastic people. I mean, they're just artists. They do whatever they do. They don't have to be fantastic people. But I do think there's something about, like, I just think in music, like, you just gotta, it's hard enough. You gotta, like, help us little guys. You know what I mean? Like, give us little guys a chance. Like, what does that take away from you? It's like, just give little guys a chance. I don't know.
No, you're definitely right. That's very fair. That's a good story.
So I've never said it. I never badmouth people, but I'm gonna say that was some bad behavior, and I was not happy.
No, that wasn't. And also, you made a very valid point, which is that people are artists, but that doesn't mean they need to be the nicest people ever. But it does mean that if they're paid to perform, or they're doing a performance or whatever, they should be prepared. They're an artist. That is still under the umbrella of their job, right? So you can still call her out for that unprofessionalism.
Well, no, I can't call her out for unprofessionalism because I think I'd have to then call myself out. I'd have to do that a lot.
It's a dangerous game. That's a lot of artists living in glass houses.
Yeah.
Right. It's maybe the non-generous part that I would be like, yeah, it's not cool.
Yeah. Well, Morgan, now I have two questions. One is obviously for you. What do you think is your worst show? But have you ever had a don't meet your heroes moment as well? So maybe you can think about that in the back of your mind.
I think I've maybe have, but I've maybe like blocked them out.
Okay, sure.
I've had a too nervous to say hello to my hero, and I make like a sound, and they're like, "Are you okay? Are you choking?" I'm like, "Yeah." I just keep walking. And they're like not even that famous. They're just some electronic nerd dude.
Right.
Most of the people I've met have actually been very, very, very nice.
Good. No, that's good too. Who was somebody that you were like, wow, they were really nice? Even if you expected them to be nice, you were like, that was surprising.
Noah Panda Bear.
Okay, I don't.
Really kind.
Cool.
And he was so like, he made me feel so, and I was just like at this big electronic fest of just some dude, and he just was talking, and we were talking for like 20 minutes, just nerding out about crap, and yeah, super nice guy.
Okay, well there you go. So what about worst show?
God, I feel like shit. I should have said something.
You want no. Do you want to add who's the nicest?
No. Let me do some shit talking.
I couldn't get my guitar tuned, and I'm in this church, and I can't get my guitar tuned. So basically, that'll be what you'll have to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
I turned that around on you, didn't I, Nina? It's so unfair.
Yeah.
What's that?
I was like, no, I don't say mean things. I'm just gonna say something.
Well, I don't know.
Lord.
I don't know if that should be in this or not.
If it helps, I've done a lot of shit talking myself on this podcast about people in Toronto, and that's a smaller world. So, yeah. Anyway, well, you let me know, all right?
Yeah. I'm pretty.
Gosh, there is one, but I actually don't want to say it.
No, that's okay. I didn't mean for this to get into a TMZ sort of thing.
Why do you have to now?
Let's see at the end. Okay, so worst gig. Okay,
yeah.
It's a big list, but I'll maybe choose the best one, which isn't that bad in the grand scheme. It's like glass half full. It was an opportunity. Blah blah blah. This one was just there's a goofy sense of irony to it, which is that we were playing a Ticketmaster company party in San Francisco, downtown San Francisco. I don't remember the venue, and just from the get-go, we were just like, "Ooh, this feels very like
icky,
corporate icky
yes
vibe." But it was whatever, just another gig, and then from the get-go, just the second we started, they were just like, "Oh," and we're annoyed. I think one time maybe someone glanced at us to like acknowledge that there was a band on stage, and otherwise songs would end and we would come to a silent, normal the applause break. Nothing whatsoever.
Just a steady din of like conversations on the floor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Not crickets, just the chatter would once our music came low enough, it was like, oh, there's that chatter, and they were just and they didn't even look, and we're just like, and I think Will at some point was just like, are you guys does anyone care?
So then actually I'm curious, how do you then deal with knowing nearly objectively these people don't care? At best they don't care, at worst they're annoyed.
I guess it depends what you have to lose in that moment. For us, we had really nothing to lose. We were just like, let's just
treat it like a rehearsal now.
Yeah, get a little goofy, try things you wouldn't normally try.
Right.
jam in moments you wouldn't normally.
Right.
It's like, oh, we've got a sound system here. Let's just have fun. So yeah, and then I think about halfway through that, the power went out. It just mid-song, the power just to the PA.
Oh.
If that normally would have happened, we would have been like, oh my God, like it would have been so jarring. And we just like looked at each other, like, expressionless, and then walked off stage to the green room without saying anything. Not in a dramatic way, just in a comically, like, we could give less of a shit.
Yeah.
And then we just walked back there, and then I slowly poured myself a drink, and then he went on his phone, and we just kind of hung out for a bit. And then they're like, the power's back on. You can go back up. We're like, okay. Concert back on. And we're like, we're back.
Man, the irony of, especially it being a Ticketmaster place and nobody cares about music, and you'd expect at the very least they'd have the money to rent a space that wouldn't somehow have a PA that runs out of power.
Yeah, I look at it two ways. It's like they just talk about music all day. I get it. They're probably the last thing they want is to go buy a ticket to a show.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's also like, so do you not give a shit about music? I don't know.
And that's also not your problem as the band. It's the problem of some underpaid assistant that booked you guys for this event.
I think, yeah, just the idea of shows in general are just like, ugh.
Work. Yeah. Okay.
So that was but it's just an example of one of those ones where you're just like, it's just a job.
Yep. And now it's behind you. Yeah. So, Nina, what did you say?
They should have circus or something. Why do they have a band?
Exactly. Circus is a great idea.
Magic, like a magic dude. Some dude doing magic. I don't know. I think that reminded me of the other worst show.
Okay.
Was it a Swatch party when I first started doing music? So I'm like, it was like some Christmas party for Swatch.
That's like an apparel brand.
Oh, it's those watches. Oh,
Swanky
yeah. That's
watch. Does that stand for Swanky Watch?
It's a watch that's like all different colored bands. I don't know.
Okay.
Swatch. Anyway, Swatch. And it was a long time ago, clearly. And I was playing this thing, and I'm like just me solo at this Christmas party with my songs, which are kind of like not fun songs. So I'm playing them, and I think I get like 3 in, and some drunk guy comes up, and I'm like just mid song, and he's like, excuse me, Santa's coming up. I got completely derailed by so a really drunk Santa, because it was a Christmas party, came up, and I was like, okay. I left.
How do you drunk Santa?
So awful. Talk about people not giving a shit. Yeah, it was really
my God, that sounds like something out of The Office. That sounds
it was like that.
Jeez, wow. Okay, well, getting back into higher spirits then, I'm curious, this is another one with very vague borders or boundaries as a question, but what do you think is your respective best song? Whatever that means. Oh, hello? Good now?
There you are. We see you
now.
Okay.
On for a while.
Geez. Okay, I don't know what's up with my internet, but thanks for bearing with it. What do you think are your respective best songs, which can mean whatever? I know it's a tough one.
Nina?
I don't know. I mean, I don't listen to them is the thing. Like once they're done, they're done. I don't really listen to them. I mean, of my own stuff, I would say, so I think if I were to pick a song, I would have to say it's from the first album, Dogs, the Stormy Weather one, because I wrote it really early on, and it felt like the one that was the most inspired. So it came it seemed a lot more advanced than I was capable of, and at the time, because I just started writing, and so and that song I think when I go back in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm really proud of that song because it was just proud of it.
No, I get it. So it's that one because you can remember now in retrospect the context it was written in, and you felt like at the time you sort of overachieved and kind of nailed it back then.
Yeah, and I feel like it's I guess it's the one that I'm most proud of because I feel like, oh well, after having written for a long time now, I feel like if I wrote that now, I would be just as happy with it, or
No, definitely, that's a great measurement of it. I think that serves as really good evidence. Morgan, how about you?
Wait, the question is your
best in your opinion, whatever that can mean.
I was just daydreaming there about my experience at the Folk Fest 2 years ago, where it was the middle of the day and it'd been 3 days of folk festing, and it was really sunny, and I just went to take a little nap on the grass, which is a very sweet thing to do during Folk Fest. Just chill music, chill vibes. And Nina was doing a workshop set.
Oh wow!
You do these like kind of round robin, bunch of bands are on stage, and then each will present their song, and the others kind of jam to it in the moment on the fly. Which can be terrifying for some of us.
Yeah.
And Nina was doing one of those, and I think that was the first time you did it, and I just dozed off, and then suddenly I was kind of half awoken in this dreamy, lucid state, and I was just like, man, most of this has sounded like it was fine, but whoever's singing right now is blowing my fucking mind. And I was still too asleep to really wake up. It was like one of those lucid situations.
Yeah.
I slowly woke up, and right when it ended, and I was just like, what the fuck was that? That was so good. And then Jeff looked over and he was like, that's Nina.
Oh.
And it was superstar Nina.
Morgan.
What?
I thought it was going to be you singing in your sleep. I was like, that's the best answer ever.
Who was that genius song? Oh, it was me? Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, it was you, Nina. And I was like, oh, so stoked. And it was so beautiful. And that's Superstar. That was that song. So
It can't be me. It's got to be your song.
Oh, no, this was just my side story.
No, yeah. Thank you. That's lovely.
That's really, Morgan, thank you.
God, now I feel like a dick, though. I don't think I have a good answer for the problem with the answer for this is most of the time, 99% of the time that I'm in bands, I'm not the principal songwriter. I'm just like contributing things.
Well, you could always answer favorite. I don't know. You could always answer favorite. Maybe then.
Oh, there's so many favorites. Morgan favorites. If you don't know your favorites, I can say your favorites because there's so many on the Jolie Laide stuff. It's fantastic.
Yeah. I would say so. That was going to be my real answer. Actually, was and not being a songwriter again. I didn't really have anything to do with this, but Saw the Wave, the last track on our record, is really meaningful and beautiful, and it's a lot of things, and I'm just really proud, really extremely proud to be a part of it, and it's very special.
Was that an easy decision for you? Are you like once you heard the album in full, it's like I don't even mean when you were writing it, I'm sure that was exciting, but after you can look at the full, you can see the forest through the trees, that still immediately is like, yeah, this one for me.
Oh my God, yes. And that one particularly, I remember when we first kind of jammed it out in Clint's basement years ago, and I recorded it on my phone, and then I went camping that weekend, and I was just sitting there around the campfire after everyone had went to bed, just listening to the recording over and over and over and over, and I was just like, this is incredible. Like, it was so impactful. And then years later, we finally, like you're saying, we see it through to fruition, and it could not have imagined. And it's like, production-wise, it's one of the more straight-up ones on the album, but there's something about that too that makes it really the simplicity of it, and there's not too many layers, and it's just, but it's this, the songwriting is just stunning.
Wow. Both, okay. Good, all great answers. That's great answers there.
Yeah, I mean, really, because Morgan's not really tuning his horn enough, so I'll tune it for him. Is that those parts that he comes up with all through that record are really put in this place of, I think, was it Vish who said this? Like, somebody said it. Who said it? I forget who I was talking to that said it's like turned it into a widescreen event. Got super cinematic, and really it just puts it over the edge in this way that's so just really, really beautiful writing, Morgan, for sure.
I just put glitter on existing pieces of art.
I like that way. I like that way of putting it. Yeah. That's great. Well, then this might be an interesting question for you to answer, but we're at the titular question, which is, what do you think is your worst song? Nina, maybe we can start with you. Worst Jolie Laide.
Worst song?
Yeah.
I mean, I have written some worst songs. Sure. I don't think that I've put them on any records.
That's the hope. So then, which I understand as an answer. So
not that, like, I definitely have songs that make me kind of cringe, but
it can be that, or you don't relate to them anymore. Like, it doesn't mean this isn't like necessarily an opportunity to just totally shit on something. It's just more. I
love to shit on myself.
Yeah.
I have so much fun with that, but I mean, it's funny. There is this one song. It's very funny. I could have gone in like a definite different direction, and was when before I started recording anything really. I mean, I was just recording with friends, whatever, and so a friend had like taken a song I wrote, which was almost like me trying to be Sheryl Crow or something like that. I mean, it was really. Really, it was in the very beginning of me writing, and so somebody just produced the hell out of it in this way that like sounded so not me that I think, I don't think the writing was I don't think it was all that good. So, but that's not a song.
Is that something we can hear online?
No.
Okay. Yeah. What about something we can hear online?
Okay, so like A Dog's Life kind of makes me cringe.
Okay.
Kind of makes me cringe a bit.
What hits off the cringe meter?
I think the melody makes me cringe. I think I mean, I like the stream of consciousness writing of like turning into a dog, that trippy thing. I kind of really like that idea. But something about, it's a dog's life. I don't know. It's like it makes me cringe. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe a dog's life.
Maybe a dog's life.
Okay.
I have to think about. I got to think about stuff more.
Sure. No, you can think some more. Maybe Morgan, can you? This is a weird one for you to answer, I guess. Yeah, why don't we, what's the worst?
They want me to do some shit talking.
Yeah, exactly. After all the nice things you said. Maybe
I think I can. So the only way this answer is going to work is because I've put out a solo electronic record.
Yes.
Called Winter. I put it on Bandcamp. It was very kind of casually put up. It was right at near the beginning of Bandcamp, or at least the beginning of my awareness of it. And so I was just like, oh, well, this is the new MySpace. So I'll just put the thing up on here and you can put a full album up. Sure. I had owed a friend of mine. I used to burn CDs of my kind of demos and my current music to friends time.
Yeah.
And there's this one friend of mine who had been asking for like over a year, and I was like, oh shit, yeah, I'll get you one. And it just turned into this. I reluctantly hadn't given it to her for so long, and then so my way of kind of making it up to her is I was like, here, I put it up on a page. You inspired me to do it. Did it in a weekend. So anyways, the point is none of the tracks were really like done. I was just like, this is just kind of a glorified burn CD here. And then someone on Facebook reposted it, and it got a lot of weird traction for like being a nobody at the time. What is happening? So then I was like, all right, well, I guess that's the album then. I just have to live with it. So in a lot of ways, that entire thing feels pretty cringy to me, and I'm usually pretty pessimistic about my own music, but I at the same time have to say, like, I don't regret it. It's all, you have to put stuff out. That's
absolutely.
It's like and I need to listen to my own advice, because that's the only thing I've put out under my own. An embarrassing amount of other songs that I could have been putting out and should have been, but I'm like, yeah, I'll get there. But yeah. So I don't have any one song, but I would say it's that Winter. Yeah. It's pretty like corny.
Okay, gotcha. What strikes you as corny? Just in general. It doesn't have to be that record. Just what strikes you as corny in music?
For me, especially in electronic music, like drops that are taught to sound cool, maybe, or using samples in a cheeky way, like sampling some guy that's like, and boom goes the dynamite.
Oh, that, yeah.
Into the bar, actually, that's kind of cool. Things like that.
Yes. Okay, I gotcha.
Maybe drum samples. Here's the thing: you can use cheesy samples, but if you have an awareness to it,
yes,
it can flip really easily to like tasteful and it's what the intent is.
Totally.
But unintentionally using cheesy old drum loops and things like that. Especially with my own music, I'm like, oh, I can hear the software preset.
I understand.
Haunting me. Yeah.
Well, we're pretty much near the end, but is there anything either of you want to say before it ends? Anything you want to promote specifically, or anything I didn't get into that you want to cover?
I have like 20 more bad show stories.
Yeah. Okay.
But no, I think I'm good. I mean, our
obviously your album and the tour.
Yeah.
But do you want to talk a little bit more about that? You've got Creatures, and then you got the tour. Is there anywhere you're specifically looking forward to going to, or anywhere you've never been before on the tour? Either of you?
I'm looking forward to getting out of America.
Yeah. Okay. Good answer. Good answer.
Have you played East Coast Canada at all?
I've played Ottawa Blues.
Anything east of Calgary is East Coast to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ottawa Blues. I played there before.
Okay, but not Maritimes Canada, like Halifax or Newfoundland or anything.
Oh yeah. Wait, where is Ottawa?
Ottawa's still in Ontario.
Oh.
Yeah.
My God.
No, it's all good.
I'm excited to play that little Guelph Island for that Guelph festival.
Cool. Yeah, Guelph is awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's the only one I've played is the Calgary and the Ottawa. I've not played any of the other places.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Yeah, well, you'll enjoy the Maritimes. That's a lot. That's very quaint. But yeah, thank you both. Okay, thank you both very much for coming on the podcast. The end usually is I play what was chosen as the worst song.
Oh lordy!
As in, I just like stick on the track at the end of the end. So,
nice. Wow, what an asshole!
He's been bad.
And The other thing is normally I have the interview end by normally I only usually interview one person and they say their name and the worst song choice and their band name. But would both of you like to go ahead and do, or I don't know how you could orchestrate that. Okay, Morgan looks really excited to do it and Nina looks like she has no idea how to do it. So
hold on. Let me get the instructions correct. Where he's saying our name and then both of our respective worst song names at the same time?
No, not at the same time. Not at the same time. How am I going to problem solve this? Just individually. Like, Morgan, you say the full thing. Nina, you say the full thing.
Yeah, my name is Morgan from Jolie Laide, and my worst song is, I think it's called Juice Boxes off my album Winter.
Okay.
It's track 2, whatever that one is.
Okay, perfect. Nina, would you mind doing the same?
Okay, so I'm Nina Anastasia from Jolie Laide, and my worst song, not really my worst, is Dogs.
Okay, great.
Oh, the dog is making noise in the background.
I know, right as your dog is huffing and puffing.
I had a dream about a dog. I was walking in an amusement park with people all around me. We rode the roller coaster rides and he was laughing as we jumped to the sky. Then I saw that I looked just like him. It's a dog's life. I wanna lead a dog's life. Run to the woods, dig a hole, just him and me. He showed me all the various scented treasures on the ground. There was a little girl, she was scared of me and I was scared of her. He let out a bark and she screamed, dropped her chocolate ice cream. Suddenly this old man chased us till we jumped the fence. It's a dog's life. I wanna lead a dog's life. Under the couch, chew a bone, just him and me. Across the street and barely missed a speeding car. Suddenly this old man grabbed him from around the corner. I hid behind a big trash can, wondered what's become of him. I tried to stay, but curiosity kills me. It's a dog's life. I wanna lead a dog's life. A bone, just him and me. It's a dog's life. I wanna lead a dog's life. Run to the woods, dig a hole, just him and me. It's a dog's life. I wanna lead. It's a dog's life. I wanna lead. It's a dog's life.
Hey, just cutting in here to say we're just also going to play Morgan's track, but Morgan realized that it is called Good, not what he said in the interview, not Juice Boxes. All right? So here is Good.